Imagine you are standing in the middle of a storm. The winds are howling, the rain is pouring, and everything around you feels like it's falling apart. You have no control over the storm, but what if you could control how you feel inside? What if, despite the chaos, you could find peace? Have you ever felt like life keeps throwing problems at you, one after another, without giving you a break? Have you ever wondered why some people stay calm and happy, even in the worst situations, while others crumble under pressure? Why does happiness seem so easy for some and impossible for others? Let's take a simple example. Imagine two people lose their jobs on the same day. One panics, feels hopeless, and falls into depression. The other takes a deep breath, accepts the situation, and starts looking for new opportunities with a calm mind. Same situation, but two completely different reactions. What makes the difference? It's the way they see life, the way they handle suffering. And that's exactly what we are going to talk about today. Welcome to Wisdom Woven, where we explore the deep wisdom of life to help you stay strong, happy, and peaceful no matter what happens. If you find value in this video, then take a moment to support us. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribe. So please like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us bring you more life-changing content. And don't forget to drop your thoughts in the comments. We would love to hear from you. Happiness in difficult times is not about ignoring problems. It's about understanding them, facing them with a strong mind, and choosing not to let them control your emotions. This is where Buddhism offers powerful insights. Unlike common beliefs, happiness is not something that depends on perfect situations. It comes from within. No matter how hard life gets, you can still find peace if you know how to train your mind. Buddhism teaches that suffering is a part of life. It's not something to fear or avoid. It's something to understand. Once you accept that pain and challenges are natural, they stop feeling like punishments. They become lessons. Life is like a river. It keeps flowing, sometimes calm, sometimes rough. But the river never stops. Just like that, our emotions change, our situations change, but we must learn to flow with them instead of fighting against them. Many people believe that happiness comes from getting what we want. But the truth is, even when we get everything, we still feel empty. Have you ever wanted something so badly, only to feel unsatisfied after getting it? This happens because we confuse happiness with temporary pleasure. True happiness is deeper. It's not in things, it's in the way we experience life. Buddha taught that our suffering comes from attachment. We hold on too tightly, to people, to situations, to our desires. And when things don't go our way, we feel broken. But what if we learn to let go? Not in a careless way, but in a way that frees us from unnecessary pain. Mindfulness is a key to staying happy even in the worst conditions. It means living in the present moment instead of worrying about the past or fearing the future. When we are mindful, we stop overthinking. We start seeing life as it is, not as we imagine it to be. And that brings peace. In this journey, we will explore the wisdom of Buddhism in simple ways. You don't have to be a Buddhist to understand these lessons. They are for everyone, no matter who you are or where you come from. The goal is to help you see life differently, to help you build a mind that stays calm in every situation. This is just the beginning. In the next part, we will dive deeper into why we suffer and how understanding this truth can change everything. Stay with us, because the answers you've been looking for might be closer than you think. The root of suffering, understanding dukkha. Sit down for a moment. Breathe. Feel the air into your lungs and leave gently. Now, think about this. Why is life so full of struggle? Why do we feel pain, sadness, frustration? Why does suffering seem to follow us wherever we go? From the moment we are born, suffering is with us. A baby cries when it is hungry. A child feels pain when they fall. A young person struggles with love, expectations, and dreams. An old person suffers from illness and loss. No matter who we are, where we come from, or what we have, suffering finds its way into our lives. But here is something important to understand. Suffering is not a mistake. It is not a punishment. It is not something unfair. It is simply a part of life. It is the nature of existence itself. Buddha called this truth dukkha, the unsatisfactoriness of life. It is the first truth he taught. Because before we find happiness, we must first understand suffering. Think about the times you felt unhappy. Maybe you lost something precious. Maybe someone you love left. Maybe things didn't go the way you wanted. Each time, Suffering came because of one thing. We wanted life to be different from what it was. We wanted control. We wanted things to stay the way we liked. But life does not work like that. It changes. It moves. It flows like a river, never stopping, never staying the same. Imagine holding sand in your hand. If you hold it gently, it stays. But if you squeeze too tightly, it slips away. This is how life works. The more we try to control it, the more suffering we create. We cling to people, to things, to moments, hoping they will last forever. But nothing in this world lasts. And when they change, we feel pain. Most of our suffering comes not from the outside world, but from our own minds. Two people can face the same situation, yet one may suffer deeply while the other remains calm. Why? Because suffering is not about what happens to us. It is about how we react. The problem is not pain itself. The problem is that we resist pain. We refuse to accept it. We fight against reality. Imagine walking in the rain. If you keep thinking, "I hate this rain, I don't want to be wet," every drop will feel like torture. But if you simply accept, "Yes, it is raining," the experience changes. You stop fighting, and the rain just becomes rain. It is the same with suffering. The more we resist, the more we suffer. Buddha taught that the root of suffering is attachment. We attach ourselves to things, to people, to ideas, expecting them to stay the same. But when they change, we feel pain. We attach ourselves to success, thinking it will bring happiness. But even success fades, and then what? We attach ourselves to love, expecting it to last forever. But people change, and sometimes they leave. Does this mean we should stop loving? No. It means we should love without attachment. Love fully, but without the fear of losing. Another cause of suffering is desire, always wanting more. Look at your own life. How often do you say, "I'll be happy when I get this, when I achieve that, when I become this"? But what happens when you get it? The happiness lasts for a moment, then disappears, and a new desire takes its place. It becomes an endless cycle. Imagine chasing the horizon. No matter how fast you run, you will never reach it. Desire is like that. It keeps you running, but true happiness is never found in chasing. It is found in stopping, in being present, in realizing that what you have, right now, is enough. Now, does this mean we should not have dreams or goals? No. It means we should work towards them without being controlled by them. Wanting something is not the problem. The problem is believing that our happiness depends on it. The moment we attach happiness to something outside of us, we give away our power. Fear is another form of suffering. We fear losing what we have. We fear the unknown. We fear failure. But where does fear exist? Not in reality. It exists only in the mind. Fear is like a shadow. It disappears when you shine the light of understanding on it. So, what is the way out of suffering? Awareness. When you truly see suffering, when you truly understand it, it begins to lose its power over you. You stop blaming the world. You stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What can I learn from this?" Every moment of suffering becomes a teacher. Every hardship becomes an opportunity to grow. Think of a lotus flower. It grows in the mud, in the darkness, yet it rises above the water and blooms in the sunlight. In the same way, our suffering is not here to destroy us. It is here to help us rise. It is here to teach us patience, strength, compassion, and wisdom. You may ask, if suffering is a part of life, does that mean we will always suffer? No, because suffering is not just about pain. It is about how we relate to pain. When we learn to let go, to stop clinging, to accept the flow of life, suffering begins to disappear. The journey is not about removing all difficulties. It is about learning to remain peaceful even in the middle of difficulties. When you understand suffering, you no longer fear it. You see it as a passing cloud, not the endless sky. In the next part, we will go even deeper. How shifting our perspective can change our experience of life itself. Because sometimes, happiness is not about changing the world. It is about changing the way we see it. Shifting perspective, the power of impermanence. Sit down for a moment. Take a deep breath. Look around you. Everything you see, everything you feel, everything you own, it will all change one day. The people you love, the things you hold dear, even the thoughts in your mind, they are not permanent. They are like clouds drifting in the sky, here for a moment, gone the next. But why does this thought make us uneasy? Why do we fear change? Why do we cling so tightly to things? knowing that nothing stays the same forever. This is where suffering begins, not in change itself, but in our resistance to it. Imagine a child building a sandcastle on the shore. She spends hours shaping it, making it perfect. But then, the tide comes in. The waves wash away her creation. She cries, feeling that everything she worked for is lost. But what if she understood that the ocean always takes back the sand? What if she built her castle not with the hope of keeping it forever, but with the joy of creating it in the moment? This is how life works. Nothing stays as it is. The more we try to hold on, the more pain we feel. But if we embrace impermanence, we find peace. Think of the happiest moments in your life. Maybe it was a warm afternoon with a loved one. Maybe it was laughter with an old friend. Maybe it was a time when you felt truly alive. Those moments passed, didn't they? But do you regret them because they ended? Or do you cherish them because they happened? Now think of your hardest moments. The pain, the loss, the struggles. They felt unbearable at the time, but they also passed. They did not last forever. Nothing does. Just as joy is fleeting, so is sorrow. Just as the sun rises, it also sets. When you understand this, a great weight lifts from your heart. You realize that nothing in this world is truly yours to keep. Not your possessions, not your relationships, not even your own body. Everything is borrowed. And that is not a reason for sadness. It is a reason to live fully. Look at a river. It never stops moving. The water you see in one moment is gone the next, replaced by new currents. Life is the same. We are always flowing, always changing. But we make the mistake of thinking that we are separate from this flow. We try to hold still in a moving stream. And that is why we struggle. Let's say you have a beautiful flower in your garden. Every day, you admire its color, its fragrance. But deep inside, you know that it will wither one day. You can either spend your days worrying about the moment it will die, or you can enjoy its beauty while it lasts. The choice is yours. The same goes for people. Every relationship, every friendship, every connection is temporary. Not because they don't matter, but because life itself is always shifting. Some people will walk with you for a long time, some only for a short while. Instead of fearing their departure, treasure their presence. When we cling to things, we become prisoners of our own desires. We become afraid of losing, afraid of change, afraid of time. But when we let go of attachment, we become free. We stop fearing endings because we know they are only new beginnings in disguise. A wise man once said, "You cannot step into the same river twice." Even if you return to the same spot, the water is no longer the same. And neither are you. Every moment, you are changing. Every second, life is renewing itself. The only way to suffer less is to accept this truth instead of fighting it. Think about the times you worried about the future. Did your worrying change anything? Did it stop time from moving forward? No. It only stole your peace in the present. Worry is useless. The only thing you can control is how you respond to this moment, right here, right now. If you are going through pain, remember this. It will pass. If you are feeling lost, remember this. You will find your way again. And if you are happy, do not fear its end. Instead, live it fully, with all your heart. Because nothing lasts forever, but that is what makes life precious. This world is like a great painting. Every stroke, every color, every shape is meant to be here for a time, then fade. The beauty of life is not in its permanence, but in its ever-changing nature. When you understand this, you no longer hold on in fear. You live with open hands, ready to receive, ready to let go. The key to happiness is not in controlling life, but in flowing with it. Like a leaf carried by the wind, like a wave rolling with the ocean. Not fighting, not resisting, just moving, just being. That is the way to peace. That is the power of impermanence. The middle way, balance in extreme situations. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine walking on a rope stretched between two mountains. One wrong step to the left, and you fall. One wrong step to the right, and you fall again. The only way to reach the other side is to keep your balance steady and calm. Life is just like that rope. It is easy to slip into extremes. Too much desire, too much fear, too much attachment, too much resistance. But true peace, true happiness, is found in balance. There was once a musician who asked Buddha about life. He said, "I play the lute. If the strings are too tight, they break. If they are too loose, they make no sound. Only when they are tuned just right do they create beautiful music." Buddha smiled and said, "Life is the same. Too much or too little of anything brings suffering. Balance is the key. Look at the way we live. We either chase after things endlessly, thinking they will make us happy, or we give up on everything, believing that nothing matters. Some people run after money, fame, and pleasure, hoping that once they have enough, they will finally be at peace. Others believe that the only way to be free is to reject everything, to live with nothing, to avoid attachments, to shut themselves away from the world. But both of these paths lead to suffering. A person who eats too much suffers. A person who eats too little also suffers. A person who works too much is exhausted. A person who is lazy becomes lost. A person who loves too much loses themselves in another. A person who refuses to love lives in emptiness. In every part of life, the extreme path leads to pain. The middle way is the wisdom of knowing when enough is enough. Think of fire. If the flames are too weak, the fire dies. If they are too strong, they burn everything. But when controlled, fire gives warmth, cooks food, and brings light in the darkness. Our emotions, desires, and actions are the same. If we suppress them too much, we feel empty. If we let them control us, we get burned. But when we find balance, we live with wisdom and peace. So, how do we find this balance? First, we must see the extremes in our own lives. Ask yourself, where do I go too far? Do I work too much, thinking success will solve everything? Do I give up too easily, thinking effort is useless? Do I hold on to things too tightly, afraid to lose them? Or do I push people away, afraid to get hurt? The first step is to notice. The second step is to adjust, just like tuning a musical instrument. Many people believe that happiness is in having more. More wealth, more power, more relationships, more comfort. But have you noticed? The more we get, the more we want. A person with one house dreams of two. A person with a little fame wants more. A person with a simple job wishes for a higher position, then another, then another. This endless hunger never brings peace. On the other hand, some believe the answer is in rejecting everything. They think that to be truly free, they must leave behind all desires, all attachments, all ambitions. But without desire, there is no motivation. Without dreams, there is no purpose. Without love, there is no connection. Avoiding life completely is just another kind of suffering. Balance does not mean giving up everything or taking everything. It means knowing how much is enough. It means knowing when to stop, when to go forward, when to hold on, and when to let go. It is not about rejecting pleasure, but not becoming a slave to it. It is not about avoiding effort, but not drowning in it. It is about walking the path with wisdom, not with blind hunger or blind fear. Buddha himself discovered this truth through his own life. As a prince, he lived in luxury, surrounded by wealth and comfort. But he was not happy. So he left everything behind and lived in extreme hardship, starving himself, torturing his body, thinking that this was the way to freedom. But suffering did not bring him wisdom. It only made him weak. It was only when he let go of both extremes and chose the middle way that he found enlightenment. Imagine a river. If the water is too strong, it destroys the land. If the water is too weak, the land becomes dry. But when the river flows in balance, it nourishes everything it touches. Our lives must be like that river, flowing, moving, adjusting, never too extreme in any direction. The middle way does not mean living without joy. It does not mean rejecting love or success or comfort. It means understanding them, not being controlled by them. It means enjoying food without greed, working hard without obsession, loving without losing yourself, and letting go without regret. It means knowing that happiness is not in having everything or in having nothing. It is in being at peace with whatever is. Look at nature. The day and the night are balanced. The sun does not shine all the time, nor is it always dark. The seasons change, not too fast, not too slow. Everything moves in harmony. We, too, must live with this understanding. When things go wrong, we do not panic. When things go well, we do not become arrogant. We walk the middle path, steady and calm, through every season of life. So, the next time you feel lost, ask yourself, am I walking too far in one direction? Am I clinging too much? Am I avoiding too much? And then, just like a musician tuning their instrument, adjust. Not too tight, not too loose. Just right. That is the secret to a peaceful life. Mindfulness and meditation the path to inner peace. Close your eyes for a moment. Listen to the sounds around you. Feel the air on your skin. Notice your breath moving in and out. In this very moment, nothing else exists. Only this breath, only this silence. This is mindfulness. And this is where peace begins. Life is always moving, always changing. One moment, we feel happy. The next, we are drowning in stress. One day, everything seems perfect. The next, everything falls apart. Our minds are like wild horses, running in every direction, chasing thoughts of the past, worrying about the future. But what if you could stop running? What if you could just be here, now, fully present? Most of our suffering comes from the mind's habit of wandering. We replay painful memories. We imagine worst-case scenarios. We keep thinking about what should have happened, what could have been different. But in doing this, we miss the only moment that truly exists, the present. The past is gone. The future hasn't come yet. All we ever have is now. And the more we learn to live in this now, the more peace we find. Buddhism teaches that the mind is like a restless monkey, always jumping from one thought to another. But through mindfulness, we train this monkey to sit still. We teach it to observe instead of react. Instead of getting lost in emotions, we learn to simply notice them. Instead of drowning in stress, we learn to breathe through it. Imagine you are sitting by a river. The water is flowing, carrying leaves, twigs, and flowers. Some things in the river are beautiful, some are unpleasant. But you are not in the river. You are just watching. This is how mindfulness works. Your thoughts, your emotions, your fears, they are like that river. They come, they go. But you don't have to get carried away. You can just watch. You can just be. Meditation is a way to train this awareness. It is not about controlling the mind or forcing it to be quiet. It is simply about observing, watching your breath, feeling your body, noticing your thoughts without judgment. In the beginning, the mind will resist. It will fight to pull you back into the chaos. But with practice, it settles. And in this stillness, something magical happens. You find yourself. People think meditation is difficult, but it is the most natural thing in the world. You don't need a special place or a perfect posture. You don't need to sit for hours like a monk. You can meditate anywhere, anytime. When you drink tea, truly taste it. When you walk, feel your feet touching the ground. When you listen, truly listen. Every moment of awareness is meditation. The beauty of mindfulness is that it does not change the world around you. It changes the way you experience it. The storm may still be there, but you are no longer afraid of it. The noise of life may continue, but inside, you are silent. Problems may come, but you face them with a steady heart. This is the power of presence. Many people ask, can mindfulness really change my life? The answer is simple. Try it. Try sitting quietly for just 5 minutes, watching your breath, letting go of thoughts. Try bringing awareness into your daily activities, even the simplest ones. Try being fully present in a conversation, instead of thinking about what to say next. And see what happens. At first, nothing may feel different. But slowly, like a seed growing into a tree, something changes. You react less. You stress less. You start to see things clearly, without the fog of emotion clouding your mind. And one day, you realize, happiness was never something outside of you. It was always within, waiting for you to notice. Mindfulness is not an escape from life. It is a way to live more fully. When you eat, eat. When you breathe, breathe. When you work, work. When you rest, rest. Be where you are, completely. Because this moment is your life. Not tomorrow, not yesterday. Only now. Buddha once said, do not dwell on the past. Do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment. This is not just a teaching. It is the key to peace. Because when you master the present, you master your life. So take a breath. Feel it. This is where peace begins. The role of compassion, transforming pain into strength. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine a world where everyone understands each other's pain. A world where instead of reacting with anger, people respond with kindness. A world where instead of feeling broken by suffering, we become stronger because of it. This is not a dream. This is the power of compassion. When life is hard, the natural reaction is to focus on our own pain. We think, why is this happening to me? Why am I suffering while others seem happy? But have you ever noticed that the more you focus on your pain, the heavier it becomes? Pain is like a wound. If you keep touching it, it will never heal. But what if you stopped looking at your own wound and instead helped someone else with theirs? What if, in your darkest moments, you chose to be a light for others? Buddhism teaches that compassion is not just about helping others. It is also a way to heal ourselves. When we care for others, we step out of our suffering. We stop feeling alone. We start to see that everyone, in some way, is carrying a burden. And in that realization, our pain becomes lighter. Think of a candle. When it lights another candle, it doesn't lose its flame. Instead, it spreads more light. Compassion works the same way. When you give kindness, you don't lose anything. You only create more warmth in the world and inside yourself. Many people think that being strong means showing no emotions, never crying, never feeling hurt. But true strength is different. True strength is when you have every reason to be angry, but you choose to be kind. True strength is when life is unfair, but you refuse to become bitter. True strength is when you understand someone else's pain, even when your own heart is heavy. Have you ever seen a tree in a storm? A weak tree breaks, but a strong tree bends. It moves with the wind, it adapts, and because of that, it survives. Compassion is like that. When we fill our hearts with it, we don't break under suffering. We bend, we adapt, we grow. But what about those who hurt us? Should we still show compassion to them? This is where many people struggle. Why should I be kind to someone who caused me pain? But think about this. A person who hurts others is usually someone who is deeply hurt inside. Anger, cruelty, and hatred don't come from happiness. They come from suffering. When you understand this, your anger starts to disappear. You see their pain instead of just their actions. This doesn't mean allowing people to mistreat you. Compassion is not weakness. It doesn't mean letting others walk over you. It means understanding their pain while also protecting yourself. You can be kind and still set boundaries. You can forgive and still walk away from toxic people. Compassion is not just for others. It is also for yourself. How many times have you blamed yourself for mistakes? How many times have you replayed your failures in your mind? If you spoke to a friend the way you speak to yourself, would it be kind? Would it be loving? Often, we are our own worst enemy. We punish ourselves for things that are already in the past. But if you cannot show compassion to yourself, how can you truly give it to others? A flower does not bloom overnight. It takes time, care, and patience. The same is true for the heart. You will not suddenly wake up one day and feel endless compassion. It is something you practice. Every time you choose kindness over anger, every time you choose understanding over judgment, your heart grows stronger. Some might think, if I keep giving kindness, won't people take advantage of me? But true compassion is not about being used. It is about giving from a place of strength, not weakness. It is about knowing that kindness is your power, not your burden. There is an old Buddhist story about a monk and a scorpion. One day, the monk saw a scorpion drowning in a river. He reached out to save it, but as he lifted it, the scorpion stung him. The pain was sharp, but the monk did not let go. He gently placed the scorpion on the shore, saving its life. A man watching asked, "Why did you save it? It stung you." The monk smiled and said, "The scorpion acted according to its nature, and I acted according to mine." This is compassion. It does not mean expecting others to change. It means choosing to be who you are, no matter how the world treats you. It means not letting the darkness of others turn off your light. If you look at the world, you will see suffering everywhere. People are hurting, people are lonely, people are lost. But imagine if each of us took a small step toward kindness. Imagine if, instead of ignoring a stranger's pain, we acknowledged it. Imagine if, instead of reacting with anger, we responded with patience. Compassion is not a grand action. It is in the little things. A gentle word to someone having a bad day. A smile to a stranger. A helping hand when no one else is looking. These small things create waves that can change the world. And in the end, compassion is the greatest gift you can give yourself. Because when you live with a heart full of kindness, no storm can break you. No pain can turn you bitter. You will not just survive suffering. You will rise above it. And that is true happiness. Letting go, freedom from attachment and expectations. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this. You are holding a rope, pulling it tightly, but on the other end, there is fire. The more you hold on, the more it burns your hands. You scream in pain, but you don't let go. You believe that if you just hold on a little longer, things will change. But will they? This is how most of us live our lives. clinging to people, situations, and desires that only bring suffering. We attach ourselves to things as if they will last forever, but nothing truly lasts. Everything in this world changes. Yet, we resist, we fight, we hold on. And that is where our suffering begins. Have you ever wondered why heartbreaks feel unbearable? Why disappointment crushes you? Why anger lingers in your heart for years? It is because we are attached to outcomes, to expectations, to an idea of how things should be. And when reality does not match that idea, we feel pain. But what if I told you that there is a way to be free? A way to live without being controlled by the fear of loss, without being broken by failure, without being destroyed by the weight of expectations? Letting go is not about giving up. It is not about running away from life. It is about releasing the chains that tie you to suffering. It is about understanding that nothing truly belongs to you. Not people, not situations, not even your own emotions. They all come and go, like waves in the ocean. Think about the sky. It does not hold on to the clouds. It lets them pass. Sometimes they are dark and heavy, bringing storms. Sometimes they are light and gentle, bringing sunshine. But the sky does not cling to either. It simply allows them to move. You are the sky. Your thoughts, emotions, and experiences are just passing clouds. But you forget that. You mistake the storm for yourself, and that is why you suffer. Imagine you are holding a glass of water. At first, it feels light. But what if you hold it for hours? Your arm starts to ache. What if you hold it for days? It becomes unbearable. The weight of the glass never changes, but your suffering increases because you refuse to put it down. This is how attachment works. The longer you hold on to something that is not meant to be held, the more it drains you. You keep carrying past regrets, old wounds, and broken dreams, expecting them to heal while you still grip them tightly. But healing begins only when you release. Letting go does not mean you stop loving, caring, or trying. It means you stop controlling. It means you stop expecting things to be different than they are. Love without ownership, care without conditions, give without expecting anything in return. That is true freedom. You might ask, but how do I let go? It begins with awareness. Notice what you are clinging to. Is it an idea of how life should be? Is it a person who has already left? Is it anger towards someone who hurt you years ago? Observe it without judgment. See how it affects your mind. Then, ask yourself, is holding on making me happy? Once you see the weight you are carrying, a part of you will already want to put it down. Take a deep breath and remind yourself, everything is temporary. Everything is changing. You do not own anything, not even your own thoughts. When you truly understand this, you will feel something shift inside you. A lightness, a peace. Letting go is a practice. It does not happen overnight. Sometimes, you will catch yourself holding on again. That is okay. Gently remind yourself and release again. Think of a river. It keeps moving. It does not try to hold on to the rocks, the leaves, or the branches that fall into it. It simply flows. You, too, can be like the river. Instead of grasping, instead of clinging, just flow. Freedom is not in getting everything you want. It is in realizing that you don't need to hold on to anything to be happy. The less you cling, the lighter you become. The lighter you become, the freer you are. And in that freedom, true happiness is found. Gratitude and contentment, finding joy in simplicity. Sit down, take a deep breath. Feel the air entering your lungs, filling you with life. Have you ever stopped to appreciate this simple act? Breathing, something so small, yet without it, life would not exist. But how often do we truly feel grateful for it? We chase after big dreams, worry about things we don't have, and forget to appreciate the simple gifts we already possess. Happiness is not in having everything. It is in appreciating what we have. But the world tells you otherwise. It tells you that you need more money, more success, more possessions, to be happy. You scroll through your phone, seeing people with expensive cars, luxurious homes, and perfect lives. You start to feel that what you have is not enough. But have you ever met people who have very little yet smile so effortlessly? Have you ever wondered why some people, despite having everything, still feel empty? Contentment is not about giving up. It is about seeing what is already in front of you. Imagine a man who walks into a garden. He looks around and sees a beautiful rose blooming. He smiles, takes in its fragrance, and walks away feeling happy. Another man walks into the same garden. He sees the same rose, but instead of enjoying it, he complains that it is not big enough, not red enough. He walks away feeling disappointed. The rose was the same, but their experiences were different. Why? Because one knew how to appreciate, and the other did not. Buddhism teaches that suffering comes from desire, always wanting more, never feeling satisfied. The mind keeps saying, if I get this, then I will be happy. But the moment you get it, the mind finds something else to chase. This cycle never ends. And so, happiness always feels like something in the future, never in the present. But the truth is, happiness has always been here. It was just hidden behind endless desires. Think about your daily life. When was the last time you felt grateful for a meal? For a cup of tea? For the roof over your head? We expect these things as if they are nothing. But for many people, they are dreams. There are those who pray for just one meal, for one safe night of sleep. Yet, when we have these things, we overlook them. We chase bigger things, forgetting that joy can be found in the simplest moments. Imagine waking up one day and realizing that everything you once had is gone. Your home, your family, your friends, everything. In that moment, wouldn't you long for just one more ordinary day? A day where you could sit with your loved ones, drink a cup of tea, laugh, and feel safe? But why wait for loss to teach us the value of what we have? Why not learn to appreciate it now? Gratitude is not just saying thank you. It is a way of living. It is opening your eyes to the gifts of life that you have been ignoring. The warmth of the sun on your skin, the sound of the wind through the trees, the laughter of a child. These are treasures, but only if you know how to see them. When you start to appreciate the small things, your heart becomes lighter. The weight of dissatisfaction begins to fade. You realize that happiness was never far away. It was just waiting for you to notice it. There is a story of a poor man who lived in a small hut. He had only a simple bed, a few clothes, and a small bowl to eat from. But he was always smiling. One day, a wealthy man visited him and asked, "How can you be happy when you have so little?" The poor man smiled and said, "You see a small hut, but I see a home. You see a simple bed, but I see a place to rest. You see an old bowl, but I see the joy of a meal." Happiness is not in what you have, but in how you see it. We often think that contentment means we should stop improving, stop growing. But that is not true. Contentment does not mean you cannot have dreams. It means you do not depend on them for happiness. It means you can work hard for a better future while still appreciating the present. It means you are not chasing happiness, you are carrying it with you. If you hold a cup of water and shake it, the water becomes disturbed. But if you place the cup down and let it sit, the water becomes clear. Our minds work the same way. If we are always running, always chasing, our thoughts become restless. But if we slow down and appreciate the present, clarity appears. Think of the happiest moments in your life. Were they always the big achievements, the grand successes? Or were they the small, unexpected moments? The times you laughed with friends, the peaceful evening walks, the simple meals shared with family? True happiness is not in the extraordinary. It is in the ordinary moments we often take for granted. A wise monk once said, "The secret to happiness is not found in seeking more, but in appreciating less." This does not mean we should not have goals. It means we should not tie our happiness to things we do not have. Because no matter how much we get, the mind will always want more. But if we learn to appreciate what is already here, we become free. Next time you wake up in the morning, pause. Feel the comfort of your bed. Notice the light coming through the window. Listen to the sounds around you. Take a deep breath and realize you are alive. You have another day to experience this world, to feel, to love, to grow. That alone is a gift. Gratitude and contentment are not difficult. They do not require money, success, or perfect circumstances. They only require one thing, your attention. The more you focus on what you have, the more you realize that happiness was never missing. It was always here, waiting for you to see it. The power of right speech and right action. Words are like seeds. Whatever you plant will grow. If you plant kindness, understanding, and wisdom, your life will be full of peace. If you plant anger, harshness, and lies, you will find yourself surrounded by conflict. Every word we speak carries energy. Every action we take shapes the world around us. Think about a time when someone's words hurt you deeply. Maybe it was a simple sentence, but it stayed with you for days, months, or even years. Now think about a time when someone's words lifted your spirit. Just a few kind words can change someone's entire day, even their entire life. This is the power of speech. It can heal or destroy, bring people closer or tear them apart. In difficult times, when everything feels heavy, we often speak without thinking. We lash out in anger, we blame, we complain. But words spoken in anger are like arrows shot without aim. Once released, they cannot be taken back. They may hit the wrong target, they may cause unnecessary damage. And worst of all, they leave behind a wound that no apology can completely erase. Buddhism teaches that right speech is not just about avoiding lies. It is about speaking with awareness. Before speaking, ask yourself, is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? If your words do not pass these three questions, it is better to remain silent. Silence is not weakness. Sometimes, silence is wisdom. But speech alone is not enough. Words create intentions, but actions create reality. If your words are kind but your actions are selfish, your kindness is empty. If your words promise love but your actions show indifference, your promises mean nothing. Right action is about living in harmony with what you say. Many people think happiness comes from receiving love, receiving wealth, receiving recognition. But true happiness comes from giving. The more you give, the lighter your heart becomes. Giving does not mean only giving money or gifts. It means giving respect, giving time, giving understanding. A small act of kindness can change someone's entire world. Imagine walking down the street, feeling lost in your own worries. Suddenly, a stranger smiles at you. A simple, genuine smile. No words, no expectations. In that moment, something shifts inside you. That smile reminds you that kindness still exists, that you are not invisible, that someone sees you. This is the power of action. It does not have to be grand. Even the smallest action, done with sincerity, can create waves that reach far beyond what we can see. Right action also means living honestly. When you take what is not yours, when you deceive, when you act in greed, you create suffering, not just for others, but for yourself. A dishonest life is a heavy burden. The more you lie, the more you have to remember your lies. The more you cheat, the more you fear being caught. Peace cannot exist where there is fear. There is a simple rule. Do not do to others what you do not want done to you. It sounds easy, but in moments of frustration, we forget. We get caught in our own pain, our own needs. We act without thinking of how it affects others. But every action has a consequence. If you hurt others, you create pain that will return to you. If you help others, you create joy that will come back to you. Right speech and right action also apply to how we treat ourselves. Many people speak to themselves in ways they would never speak to a friend. They criticize themselves, insult themselves, doubt themselves. This, too, creates suffering. If you fill your mind with negative words, your life will reflect that negativity. Speak to yourself with kindness. Treat yourself with the same patience and care that you would offer to someone you love. Happiness does not come from controlling everything. It comes from choosing the right path, even when things are uncertain. You cannot control how others speak or act, but you can control yourself. In moments of anger, you can choose to be calm. In moments of fear, you can choose to be brave. In moments of despair, you can choose to be kind. There will be times when people misunderstand you. There will be times when your kindness is taken for granted. Do not let this discourage you. Your actions are your own. Do good not because others deserve it, but because it is who you are. Just as the sun does not stop shining because someone does not appreciate its light, do not stop being kind because someone fails to see your worth. Everything in life is connected. The words you speak, the actions you take, the energy you give, all of it shapes your future. If you want happiness, plant the seeds of happiness in your daily life. If you want peace, practice peaceful actions. The universe responds to what you put out. There is a story about a wise man and his student. The student asked, "Master, how do I change the world?" The wise man smiled and said, "Change yourself. Speak with kindness, act with wisdom, and the world around you will begin to change." This is the power of right speech and right action, not just in big moments, but in the smallest details of everyday life. The way you speak to a stranger, the way you react when things go wrong, the way you treat those who have nothing to offer you. These small moments define who you are. And when you choose the right words, the right actions, you will find that happiness is not something you chase. It is something you create. Karma and acceptance, understanding life's flow. Sit down, take a deep breath, and listen carefully. Life is not random. Every joy, every sorrow, every challenge that comes your way has a reason. Nothing happens without cause. The wind does not blow without reason. The river does not flow without a source. And your life does not unfold without purpose. This is the law of karma, the simple truth that every action has a consequence. You see, karma is not a system of punishment or reward. It is not some invisible force keeping track of your mistakes. It is simply the natural flow of cause and effect. Imagine throwing a small stone into a still lake. Ripples spread out in perfect circles. That is how karma works. Every thought, every word, every action you take sends ripples into the universe, and in time, they return to you. Some ripples are small and fade quickly, while others grow larger and come back when you least expect them. Many people misunderstand karma. They think it is about fate, something unchangeable, something written in stone. But karma is not fate. It is choice. Every moment, you are planting seeds. Some seeds grow into flowers, others into thorns. You cannot blame the wind, the rain, or the soil for what grows. It all depends on what you plant. If you plant kindness, you will receive kindness. If you plant anger, anger will find its way back to you. This is not magic. It is simply the way life works. But here's the question. What happens when bad things happen to good people? What if you have done nothing wrong, yet life keeps testing you? The answer lies in acceptance. You see, karma is not just about what we do in this life. It stretches beyond what our eyes can see. Sometimes, the storms we face today are the results of seeds planted long ago, maybe even before we can remember. And sometimes, suffering comes not as punishment, but as a lesson. Think about a river flowing through a valley. It moves over rocks, through tight spaces, over cliffs, yet it never stops. It does not complain when the path is difficult. It simply flows. That is how life is meant to be lived, with acceptance. When we resist, when we fight against what is happening, we suffer more. But when we accept, we find peace, even in pain. Acceptance does not mean giving up. It does not mean doing nothing. It means understanding that some things are beyond your control, and instead of wasting energy resisting them, you learn to move with them. Imagine standing in the ocean, facing the waves. If you try to fight them, they will knock you down. But if you learn to float, the waves will carry you. So many people spend their lives asking, "Why me?" They believe life is unfair, that suffering is meaningless. But the truth is, suffering has a purpose. Every hardship teaches something. Every pain shapes you. Have you ever noticed how the strongest trees are the ones that have faced the harshest storms? Their roots grow deep, their trunks grow strong, because they have learned to withstand the wind. You, too, are growing stronger with every challenge. But strength does not come from anger or resentment. It comes from wisdom. When you understand that everything in life has a cause, when you stop seeing suffering as a punishment and start seeing it as a teacher, your whole perspective changes. You stop blaming the world. You stop blaming yourself. You simply accept, learn, and move forward. Imagine you are holding onto a rope and someone is pulling it from the other side. The more you resist, the more it burns your hands. But the moment you let go, the pain stops. That is what acceptance does. It does not erase the past. It does not remove difficulty, but it frees you from unnecessary suffering. Some people say, "But I cannot forget the pain others have caused me. I cannot accept injustice." But tell me, what is heavier? The weight of the pain itself, or the weight of carrying it forever? Forgiveness is not about letting others escape their karma. They will face their own ripples. Forgiveness is about setting yourself free. You do not forgive for their sake. You forgive for your own peace. The mind is like a cup of water. If it is full of dirt, it cannot hold anything else. But if you let the dirt settle, the water becomes clear. Acceptance clears the mind. It allows you to see things as they are, without illusion, without unnecessary suffering. And when you see clearly, you make better choices. You stop reacting to life and start responding to it with wisdom. There will always be things you do not understand. There will always be moments when life seems unfair. But instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What is this teaching me?" Every situation has a lesson. Every hardship is a step towards something greater. The sooner you understand this, the lighter your heart becomes. So, let go of resistance. Let go of the idea that life must always go your way. Let go of the belief that suffering has no meaning. Accept what is, learn from it, and move forward with a peaceful heart. Remember, life is like the river. It flows. And when you learn to flow with it, you will find happiness even in the hardest moments. Enlightenment in daily life, applying Buddhist wisdom. Sit down, take a deep breath, and listen carefully. You don't need to run to the mountains or live in a temple to find peace. Enlightenment is not a secret locked away in ancient books. It is right here, in front of you, hidden in the smallest moments of your daily life. The only reason you don't see it is because your mind is always somewhere else, lost in worries, regrets, or desires. Think about your day. You wake up, check your phone, rush to work, deal with problems, come home tired, and repeat the same cycle. But have you ever stopped to truly experience any of it? Have you ever noticed the warmth of the sun on your skin? The sound of the wind moving through the trees? The simple act of drinking water when you are thirsty? Life is happening right now, but most of us are too distracted to notice. Buddhism teaches that enlightenment is not something you achieve. It is something you realize. And that realization can happen anywhere, even while washing dishes, walking in a crowded street, or sitting alone in silence. The problem is, we think enlightenment means escaping the real world. But in truth, it means seeing the real world clearly, without illusion. Have you ever watched a child play? They don't worry about tomorrow. They don't hold on to past mistakes. They just live. If they are happy, they laugh. If they are sad, they cry. And then, they let it go. But as we grow up, we lose this ability. We hold on to our sadness. We hold on to anger, to fear, to expectations. And this weight makes us suffer. Letting go does not mean giving up. It does not mean you stop caring. It means you stop clinging to things that are out of your control. Imagine holding a rope tightly. The harder you grip, the more it hurts. But the moment you loosen your grip, the pain disappears. This is how suffering works. It is not the situation that hurts us. It is our resistance to it. There is wisdom in every moment of your life. When you are stuck in traffic, instead of getting frustrated, notice your breath. Feel the weight of your body on the seat. Listen to the hum of the world around you. When you are eating, taste your food fully. When you are talking to someone, really listen instead of thinking about what to say next. These small acts of awareness bring you closer to enlightenment because they pull you into the present moment. Many people think they must meditate for hours to find peace. But meditation is not limited to sitting with your eyes closed. True meditation is bringing awareness into everything you do. When you walk, feel each step. When you work, focus on your task completely. When you rest, rest fully, without guilt. This is how daily life becomes a meditation, and enlightenment becomes a part of you. Happiness does not come from having a perfect life. It comes from being at peace with life as it is. You will face difficulties. People will hurt you. Plans will fail. But suffering is optional. Pain is a wave. It rises and falls. If you fight it, you drown. If you accept it, you float. The choice is yours. Imagine you are carrying a heavy bag on your back. It is filled with worries, anger, regrets, and expectations. You have been carrying it for so long that you don't even notice the weight anymore. But what if you put it down? What if, just for a moment, you let everything go? That moment of lightness, of freedom, that is enlightenment. Not in some distant future, but right now. The world will not stop testing you. People will still be unkind. Unexpected problems will still arise. But you can choose how you respond. Instead of reacting with anger, pause. Instead of drowning in fear, breathe. Instead of complaining about the rain, feel it on your skin. Enlightenment is not about becoming special. It is about becoming real. Seeing life without the fog of fear and desire. Accepting things as they are, instead of wishing they were different. This is why a Zen master can smile in the middle of a storm. The storm is real, but it does not shake him, because his peace does not depend on the outside world. Think of a candle in a dark room. The flame does not fight the darkness. It simply shines. Your inner peace should be like that flame, unaffected by the chaos around you. Because real happiness is not found in things, people, or circumstances. It is found in knowing that nothing can take away your peace unless you allow it. Every moment is a chance to wake up. Every challenge is a test to see if you have truly learned. And every breath is a reminder that you are alive, here, now. Do not wait for enlightenment to find you. It has been with you all along. You just need to open your eyes. A lifelong journey to inner happiness. Sit down, Take a deep breath and listen. You have walked a long path, step by step, through storms and sunlight, through doubts and realizations. Now, you stand at a place where wisdom meets practice, where understanding meets action. This is not the end of your journey. It is the beginning of a new way of seeing life. Happiness is not something you chase. It is something you allow. It is like a butterfly. If you run after it, it flies away. But if you sit still, it may land on your shoulder. You have spent your life searching for peace, running after success, relationships, and desires, thinking that happiness lies somewhere ahead. But what if I told you, it is already here, within you, waiting for you to notice? Look around you. Everything is always changing. The trees grow, the rivers flow, the seasons shift. Nothing stays the same, yet the world remains beautiful. The same is true for your life. Problems come and go, joys rise and fall, people enter and leave. But through it all, you remain. You are not your problems. You are not your failures. You are not even your thoughts. You are the one who watches, the one who experiences, the one who is always present. Think of all the pain you have held in your heart, the regrets, the anger, the fears. They have weighed you down like heavy stones in a bag you carry everywhere. But what if you could set that bag down? Just let it go. Feel that relief, that lightness. You do not need to hold on to suffering. It is a choice. And today, you can choose differently. We often wait for perfect conditions to be happy. I'll be happy when I have more money. I'll be happy when I find love. I'll be happy when my problems are solved. But life does not wait. If you postpone happiness, you will spend your entire life waiting. The secret is this: happiness is not in the future. It is in this moment, in the way you breathe, in the way you notice the sunlight, in the way you choose to respond to life. People ask, how can I stay happy when life is hard? The answer is simple: do not fight what is. Do not resist life. If it rains, let it rain. If the sun shines, let it shine. If you are sad, feel the sadness fully. If you are happy, embrace it with gratitude. When you stop fighting, you start flowing. And in that flow, there is peace. Everything you have learned so far has brought you to this understanding. The key to happiness is not outside, it is inside. You do not need more things, more people, or more achievements. You need only to see clearly, to accept what is, to be fully present. There is an old Zen story. A student once asked a master, "What is enlightenment?" The master smiled and said, "When hungry, eat. When tired, sleep." The student was confused. "But isn't that what everyone does?" The master shook his head. "No. When others eat, they are thinking of 1,000 things. When they sleep, they worry about tomorrow. True enlightenment is to be fully present in whatever you do. This is the essence of happiness. To live completely in each moment. To taste your food, not just eat it. To feel the wind on your skin, not just walk through it. To listen to someone, not just hear them. Life is happening now. Not yesterday. Not tomorrow. Now. And now is enough. The greatest gift you can give yourself is acceptance. Accept that life will not always be easy. Accept that things will not always go your way. Accept that suffering is a part of existence, but so is joy. And when you accept everything, you resist nothing. And in that moment, suffering loses its power over you. There is nothing more to seek. No great secret you have not yet learned. The only thing left is to live what you now know. Carry this wisdom with you in every breath, in every step. Speak kindly. Love deeply. Forgive easily. And when life becomes difficult, as it sometimes will, remember, you already have everything you need inside you. You are the calm in the storm, the stillness in the noise, the light in the darkness. Before we part ways, I ask for one thing. If this journey has given you even one moment of clarity, one moment of peace, then share it. Let others find this path too. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribe. So please like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps spread wisdom to those who need it. And share your thoughts in the comments. Your words may be the light that someone else is searching for. Happiness is not a destination. It is not something you will find one day. It is in every step, every breath, every moment. Live fully, live wisely, live with an open heart. And no matter what happens, remember, you are already free.